Welcome back to Emmerdale Daily. Today we're diving straight into a storyline where, if you blink, everything has already gone. Completely out of control. At the center of this storm are Moira Dingle and Cain Dingle. One woman trying to stop her home from collapsing, one man trying to hold himself together while fighting illness. And just when they need peace the most, life drops another heavy weight right on their shoulders. This story doesn't open with a crime scene. It opens with something painfully human, a conversation. Moira looks at Cain and asks how he's really coping after learning he has cancer. Not a polite throwaway question. The kind of question you ask when you're afraid of the answer, but you ask anyway, because if you don't, you can feel the two of you drifting apart. Cain has always been the type to tough it out, swallow the fear, stand tall, even when he's cracking inside. But this time is different. You can't argue your way out of sickness. It shrinks you. It makes you feel small. And while Cain is trying to find a way to stay upright, Moira is standing on the edge of a different disaster. She's being turned into a suspect in a nightmare she swears she never chose, only got pulled into. For months, Moira genuinely believed she was doing the right thing. She partnered with Celia Daniels to expand her business. On the surface, it looked like a normal deal. Work together, grow together, benefit together. But behind the curtain, Celia was playing a different game. She wasn't lifting Moira up. She was positioning Moira perfectly to take the fall. People like Celia are terrifying because they don't need you to mess up. They just need you to be in the right place at the right time, sign the right paperwork, touch the right things, trust the wrong person. Then they take those innocent pieces and assemble a complete picture of guilt, with someone else's name printed at the bottom. By the time Moira realizes she's being framed, it's already late. She tries to say she's been set up, that someone is pulling strings from behind the scenes. But in stories like this, a cry for help is always weaker than evidence, especially when that evidence has been carefully arranged to look convincing. And before Moira can find a way out, the situation escalates. This is no longer just a scheme. Now, people are dying. Celia doesn't survive the chaos she created. And here comes the first major twist. The person who kills her is her adoptive son, Ray Walters. At that point, you'd think the truth might finally surface. The killer identified, motives exposed, the mystery starting to clear. But it doesn't. Because the moment Ray becomes the one holding the biggest secret, he's silenced. A returning figure, Bear Wolf, comes back like a ghost and kills Ray. The chain of truth is snapped clean in half. The one person who could explain why Celia died and who might be controlling the bigger picture is gone, unable to speak a single word. Then comes the next terrifying detail. Someone saw everything. Patty Dingle and Dylan Penders witnessed Ray's murder. They had a clear choice: speak up and stop the madness, or stay quiet to protect themselves. And in a moment of panic, they choose the second option. They try to cover it up. It feels like self-preservation in the short term, but really, it's gasoline on a fire. Because every time you bury a crime, it doesn't disappear. It just waits for the perfect moment to rise back up and swallow people who never deserve to be dragged under. And that perfect moment arrives at Butler's farm. Butler's farm has been the place where Moira has been desperately trying to keep life running. But next week, it becomes the ground zero that flips everything. 2 bodies are found buried on Moira's land. 2, not a single mistake, but a blow strong enough to turn suspicion into a full-scale assault. From that moment on, what looked like a human trafficking investigation suddenly twists into a murder investigation. The stakes surge, the pressure multiplies, and Moira is pulled straight into the eye of the storm. And the way it happens is brutally targeted, like a strike to her weakest point. Moira and Cain have just been talking about Cain's mental state after the cancer diagnosis. One of those rare moments where they're trying to hold on to each other, when a wave of police officers arrives. No gentle requests, no long explanations, just cold authority and the sickening feeling that everyone around them has already decided what they are. They're taken in for questioning right there. And the humiliation deepens when Victoria Sugden walks past and sees it all. Do you know the worst part of being framed? It isn't the questions in the interview room. It's being led away in broad daylight while people look at you with that expression that says, "I knew it." Cain is shoved into the back of a police car, and in the seconds before the door shuts, he grabs for the most important thing a father can hold on to. He tells Kyle Winchester to look after Isaac Dingle while he and Moira are gone. That line isn't just responsibility, it's fear. Fear that this time, going in for questioning won't mean a few hours and then home. Fear that his body is already under attack, and now the woman he loves is staring down something that could destroy her life. And then comes the twist that nearly takes Moira's air away. Of the 2 bodies found on her property, one of them is Celia. This is the cruelest move possible, because it crushes Moira's claim that she's being set up. Celia isn't some stranger. Celia is the direct link to everything that dragged Moira into this mess in the first place. With Celia's body buried on Moira's land, Moira's explanation suddenly sounds harder to believe to the outside world. Not because it's definitely false, but because the scene has been arranged to make her look guilty. And in an investigation, looks guilty can be enough to turn an innocent person into the main target. But it still doesn't stop there. The police reveal a piece of the puzzle that hits even harder than the bodies. D.S. Walsh confirms that Moira's DNA has been found on the blanket wrapped around Anya. From that moment, Moira isn't just facing accusations built on inference, she's facing the kind of things society is quick to treat as undeniable, forensic proof. And that's what makes this trap so perfect. You can argue with rumors, you can push back against judgmental stares, but when someone says your DNA is here, you're forced into the hardest battle of all, explaining something you don't even understand how it happened. So the net tightens. Moira is cornered, fighting to prove she's innocent while everything around her screams that she's guilty. Cain is trying to fight cancer while being dragged into a murder-level case, his strength already stretched thin. And the question hanging over everything is the one that makes this storyline feel so unbearable. Will they make it back home? Or is this the beginning of a long nightmare where Moira could be facing serious prison time, while Cain is left battling alone between hospital corridors and interrogation rooms? And if you're still watching, think about it the plot twist street way. 2 bodies show up in the exact right place at the exact right time. One of them is Celia, and Moira's DNA appears on the blanket wrapped around Anya. Is that coincidence? Or a script someone wrote so tightly that no matter what Moira says, she can't escape? And if it is a script, whoever wrote it calculated one more thing too. While Moira is crying out for help, Cain is getting weaker, meaning the strongest support she has is starting to buckle.